To the left, to the left. Everything Christine owns in a box to the left, including her paperweights. She must do what Anna says. Thank you. Next. This is a review of the Netflix original series Bling Empire, Season 1, Episode 1, Necklace Gate, 90210. I'm your host, Kay, and in this episode, Anna put Christine in her place. Kevin Creeder opens the series with his backstory that he's a Korean man who was raised by a white family in Philadelphia. So growing up, he always felt like the Asian outcast because a lot of the people around him weren't Asian. He was typically the only Asian or Korean, specifically, person in his social circle, and sometimes even felt like a social experiment. So when he finally grew up and moved to California, specifically Los Angeles, and found a group of Asian friends, he still felt like an outcast because since his family wasn't Asian, he has limited experience and knowledge of his cultural background. So Kevin, although he's not as rich as his friends, he's still pretty well off, or at least his net worth is documented on the internet at about $5 million, is having a lot of fun with his rich Asian friends who are running Bling Empire, and he is amazing at flirting with Kelly at the table. How cute. He flashes his brown eyes and his nice smile, telling her that he's a guy who has the basics. He's loyal, he's kind, and he recognizes her worth. She thinks that she is a respectable woman. She's put together, she's beautiful, and of course, as a viewer, I agree that they would make a great couple, and Kevin will probably be the breath of fresh air Kelly needs from Andrew. More on that later. In the beginning of the episode, Kane Lim is teaching Kevin Buddhism, or at least that's how Kevin introduces him to us. We find out that Kane is from Singapore and he's from a billionaire family. Upon doing some more research, I realized that Kane is a millionaire in his own right. He has a shoe company and he's also making investments in real estate to increase his own wealth as well as his family's wealth. So one thing about these crazy rich Asians in the Bling Empire is they don't just come from money. They know how to make their own money for their individual wealth, which is awesome. Something that everybody should learn. One thing I love about Kane is he is so fun. He knows how to stir the drama in a calm way. Hint, hint at Christine wearing that necklace to Anna's party. But he's always smiling, and that is amazing. And he was so sweet when he was talking to Kim Lee's mom about how famous Kim is in his home country, Singapore. It was hilarious that Kane could not believe that Christine actually wore the necklace to Anna's party. I mean, he gave her good advice in the Bugatti store. He was telling her, if you're going to wear the necklace, just wear it. Don't flaunt it. Just wear the necklace with grace, right? If only Christine took his advice, she wouldn't have been the hag at the end of the table, staring at her paperweight. Ooh. But more on that later. Let's not forget that China was once Japanese territory. On to Christine, the self-described Chinese empress of the Bling Empire. And in the very beginning of the episode, she is doing an interview with a magazine writer, and she's explaining that she's going to be giving a huge party for the Chinese New Year on Rodeo Drive. And she says, I don't want to give my guests something they'll never touch or see again. I'd rather give them something that has more value, like a sponsorship for a Chinese orphan in China. So that explains some of the disgust she had when she received the paperweight from Anna. Anyway, we love a philanthropic woman. And we also love a graceful drama queen. So go Anna, ruler of Bling Empire. And according to Christine, more is more when it comes to jewelry, and we see that with her own eyes as she pioneers necklace gate, as per the title of this episode in the 90210. And let Christine tell it. More is more when it comes to jewelry. And when you've got it, flaunt it. It means something. If your jewelry is not in a bank safe, girl, you ain't got jewels. I'm just kidding. I'm hyping her up. In this episode, Christine shuts down Rodea Drive to host a Chinese New Year party, and that's her way of taking over Hollywood for the night. The Chinese New Year is for the Year of the Pig, and she decided to do it really big because this is her only son's first Chinese New Year. It's the first Chinese New Year with her family, and in Chinese culture, it is the role of the wife to bear a son for the family, and it took her over a decade to conceive. So hopefully her family continues to grow and her son stays happy and healthy as they grow and live as a family. Now, Christine ruling Bling Empire. Those days are over because Anna is back and she's in her spot. So what? It's not about whose gems are shinier. It's about Anna is the queen. So what? I'm just kidding. It's so fun that Christine is buying a Ducati motorcycle for no reason. Like, I think that's the epitome of the American dream, to just buy what you want whenever you want just because you want it. And how about Christine talking about Anna in the store, saying that she thinks that the necklace will impress Christine, and then Kane here stirring it up, saying, oh, twirl in the necklace, just wear it. But then we hear from Kane later, oh, I didn't think she'd really wear it. Kane, we know you knew who you were dealing with. So far, only Kevin isn't involved in any drama. Little does Anna know, Christine is not at all concerned about impressing her by any means. As a matter of fact, Christine would be on a much better page with Anna if she just stopped bragging to her. But we'll see how that relationship progresses and who ends up winning the race on the show of the Empress of Bling Empire. Next, we have none other than the queen herself. The only queen, the only empress of Bling Empire, Anna Shea, Russian and Japanese. Yes. And she put Christine in her place. She put her in her place to the left and gave her a paperweight to keep her there. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So, Anna's wealth comes from her late billionaire father, and he bestowed upon his children $1.2 billion in 2006, which Anna split with her brother. So at this point, Anna's net worth is around $600 million, which makes her the richest of our Hollywood Asian group. And she's a self-described queen of Hollywood. So she had the title first. She can keep it. Kane describes Anna, as well as other people in the show describe her, as reclusive. So it's definitely within her personality to go away for a while, whether it's to Paris or just be in her home. And then she'll decide to start showing up to social events again. But just because the queen isn't physically on her throne, that does not mean her power goes away by any means. So ever since she started living for herself, Anna never stopped being free as a bird. So no one is controlling her. And she also books the presidential suite. So one thing Anna said in the series is that she thought Christine was nice at first, and then she started name dropping and bragging a lot. So Anna feels that Christine has nothing to prove to her. What's changed? I don't think anything's changed. Maybe Christine found out how much more money Anna has than her. But one thing is for sure, Anna's French beau is Very, very handsome. And he definitely made sure to help her with all 10 of her bags at the hotel in Paris. And it was very, very sweet of Anna to buy Kelly a friendship ring when they went to Paris together. Don't we all need a friend like Anna? Gracious as she is. And her house party is exquisite. Like, she lives there alone, possibly. I believe that's what they said on the show. And I think I think Anna was appropriate to move Christine's chair far away from her. I mean, I think that was the nice thing to do instead of kicking her out of her party right then and there, or just politely asking her to leave. Because obviously, Christine is trying to play some sort of like tit tat game with her, and Anna got her back. She did it quietly, she did it swiftly, and it was effective. What more could she have done? How could she have done it better? I mean, if Christine had taken Kane's advice and just wore the necklace graciously instead of flaunting it, hey, she wouldn't have been embarrassed at the party. Purr it. Anna put Christine in her place. Oh, and another dramatic relationship. Kelly Mealy. Girl, chasing boys never works. Kelly is Chinese and she has earned her wealth through building her own business, and now she makes her own money her own way. Before she was in a relationship with Andrew, she was married to a Chinese man who was busted by the US government for running one of the largest cyber scams in American history. So, since being deceived in that relationship, she made sure to seek out someone who loves her for who she is and who is loyal to her. And that's what she sees in Andrew, and that's why she's decided to be loyal to him and remain in a relationship with him, although he isn't always nice to her and they have some pretty intense arguments sometimes. We even witnessed an argument between the two of them when Kelly and Anna were shopping together. Andrew angrily called Kelly and he's screaming on the phone at her. He sounds very mean and very patronizing because she didn't wake him up to go shopping with her and Anna. And Kelly's justification for her actions was that Andrew was very grumpy because he was tired, so she let him sleep. She didn't wake him up before she left. And she felt she had done the right thing. And when they talked about it later that evening in person, face to face, she explained that she doesn't want to apologize for something that she believes was right and that she's not sorry about. And during this apology, Andrew starts crying. So this, to my eye, looks like emotional manipulation because he sounds incredibly angry, like he's trying to control her almost through his words and his tone on the phone. But then when they're face to face, he has tears in his eyes and he's begging for her forgiveness. So I'm not really sure what's going on with Andrew. Hopefully he's okay. If they decide to stay together, maybe Kelly and Andrew can get some relationship counseling, or maybe they need to separate and get individual counseling so that they can communicate better with each other. But our independent woman won't tolerate that behavior from Andrew much longer because she has her own things going on. And with a guy like Kevin around, how can you not eventually open your eyes and realize that there are plenty of guys with the basics? And eventually, after her friends continue to tell her, girl, you deserve better, girl, you deserve better, eventually something is going to snap and send Andrew through the ice and out of Kelly's sight, and she's going to keep it moving. She's going to say, okay, I'm not forgiving you this time. I'm moving on. I'm upgrading again to somebody who's not just nice, not just loyal, but someone who speaks to me and communicates with me respectfully and does that on a consistent basis. Wow. So yeah, I love Kelly. She seems to have a really big heart, and I hope that there won't be more episodes of Kelly and Andrew getting into arguments like that. Jamie Z is a college dropout, trust fund baby fashionista. Don't be mistaken, she is from old money. Her dad has made his money through Silicon Valley, and Jamie makes her own as an Instagram influencer modeling clothes. And she also has a fashion business through which she makes millions. At one time, she wanted to be an Olympic horse rider, but she found a new, stronger passion in fashion, and she's pursuing that fully. A few people on Twitter noticed and commented on Jamie's sanitary napkin that was showing when Kevin picked her up to toss her in the pool. If you want to see the information and pictures about that, if you think it's true or false, you can see for yourself. We blogged about it on our blog, lonelyloquacity.wordpress.com. Jamie seems so sweet and like she's going to be a lot of fun to watch through this series. It was so funny how she was agape at the fact that Kevin pays $1,000 for rent in the middle of Los Angeles. She says, $1,000? That's not even enough for shoes. Oh my gosh. Jamie, girl, I wish I lived in your world. $1,000 goes a long way in mine and in Kevin's, but hey, I agree with Kevin. We need trust funds. Up next, we were introduced to Kane Lim, who is a world-famous DJ and has the nickname as being the Asian Kim Kardashian. She has been confirmed as Japanese and French. Her mom is Vietnamese and her father is French, and her mom is so adorable. She was showing Kim how to pose at the pool and, giving her different moves to do during her DJ sets, and their chemistry is just so amazing and they have such an incredible bond. It was so sweet and refreshing to see that on a reality show. Hopefully we see more of Kane Lim or of Kim and her mom together on screen. Briefly, we were introduced to Sherry Chan at Anna's house party, and she is a Chinese rarity, according to Kane, because she is pregnant with her longtime boyfriend outside of wedlock. But that's not a rarity in American culture. So she's definitely Chinese, but also American. And hopefully Cherie will have her baby by Jason Lee later in this series, because that would be so cute. And we also saw some pictures of her daughter on TV, and they both have the most beautiful doll baby eyes. First, I'd like to mention that Jamie is Chinese. When I initially introduced her in the episode, I forgot to mention that detail about her. Jamie is Chinese. Another thing I'd like to say about Bling Empire as a whole is the reality stars as a cast are a great example of the Asian diaspora. You have a variety of people who have different cultures. Yes, they're all American and they're all embracing the LA lifestyle, but they also have roots in multiple Asian countries: Korean, Chinese, Vietnamese, Japanese. Some are even biracial, and I just think it's so noteworthy that Bling Empire is a real example of the Asian diaspora living in Los Angeles. That is the very beginning of our very first episode of Bling Empire, Season 1, Episode 1. We're going to review every episode of the series, so stay tuned for the next. Follow us on social media at LonelyLoquate. Thank you for listening. This ain't a race, but I still take first place. Change your seat and shove it in your face. Mwahaha! If you mad, you can have a paperweight. Ha! Somebody send that to Christine. Those lyrics were inspired by Larry's song First Place, and I made my own beat to it.